on an all-new Dr. Phil. Her stepson has been missing for 6 years.
You failed the first 2 polygraphs. You said, hit the gym tomorrow. This is 4 days. Graphic photo.
You don't tell us what we want to hear. We're going to make your life hell.
That's bizarre.
You can make this stuff up.
Oh, yeah, you can. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Yesterday, we began delving into the unsolved disappearance of 7-year-old Kyron Horman, who vanished into thin air after his stepmother, Terry Horman, says she dropped him off at his 2nd grade science fair. This is the very last picture ever taken of Kyron. He's standing in front of his school science project. Terry says she left him at his Oregon elementary school that morning and claims she watched him make his way down the hallway towards his classroom. But Kyron did not come home on the bus that day and was never seen again. Now, although Terry has lived under a shadow of suspicion the last 6 years, she has never been named a suspect or even a person of interest in connection with Kyron's disappearance. Now, Kyron's parents, Desiree Young and Kane Horman, say they believe without a shadow of a doubt that Terry had something to do with their son's disappearance, and they claim her story kept changing. Here's what Terry had to say about that yesterday.
I need people to know I did not harm my son. I'm not this monster that people are suggesting I am.
Terry Horman says investigators have relied on what her former husband and Kyron's biological mother had to say.
It's 6 years since he's disappeared. Tell me why it's taken this long for you to want to set the record straight.
I was advised by law enforcement, by attorneys, not to say anything. I've asked multiple times to speak out and have not been allowed.
Describe the last time you saw Kyron.
I was at the top of the stairs and watched him about as he got to his classroom door.
So you're looking from here down here, and you see him almost to his classroom door.
Yes.
Here's what Kyron's mother, Desiree, says about Terry seeing her son from the stairs.
She lied about where she was positioned when she saw Kyron. I said that's not possible. You cannot see Kyron's classroom if he was right next to the door.
What's she talking about?
If you are standing at the top of the stairs in the hallway and you've unobstructed view to one end of the hallway to the next, it's like in your house, in a hallway in your house, one end of the hallway to the other. It is a straight shot. I don't understand how you cannot see. I'm not standing on the stairs. I'm in the hallway itself, right where the dot is.
You believe that she knows something?
I believe she's involved in this. I think she is the one.
Do you share this suspicion?
Absolutely. She talked about failing polygraphs. The story to her and the story to me didn't line up.
Desiree needs to get a grip and understand this is about finding Kyron.
Now, Kane Horman has filed for divorce and also slapped Terry with a restraining order.
Her and Kane were up until 3 in the morning fighting about their marital problems. They were getting a divorce, and it was going to be Friday, the day that Kyron went missing.
Kane and I did not have a fight the night before.
Was the marriage in trouble?
I wasn't happy, yeah.
The search for Kyron Horman has now revealed accusations of a murder-for-hire plot. The landscaper tells investigators Terry Horman offered him big money to kill her husband, Kane.
That's completely false.
Did you have a personal relationship with this landscaper?
No, he wanted one, though. And there was a comment about Mother's Day. He had come out to the house to do some yard work on Mother's Day. According to him, he wanted to see me on Mother's Day. And he was dressed differently, and he had cologne on. And then he comes up to me and he said, well, I just really wanted to see you. And he I was holding my daughter here, and he comes up to my left side, and he puts his arms around me and gave me a kiss by the ear and wouldn't let go. And I thought that, oh, great, I'm out 5 acres in the middle of nowhere. This guy is going to rape me right here in front of my daughter.
Did you tell your husband about it?
No.
Why not?
Because he did not know that I had a landscaper that was coming out to the house to do yard work. And
Well, did he think the grass mowed itself? What do you mean you didn't know you had a landscaper coming to the house?
he was very hard on James and myself about taking care of things. He just assumed that his job, as he said, was to work, and that mine is to take care of the house and home, including the children. And so
He thought you were mowing the grass.
he thought James was.
How old is James?
At the time, he would have been about 15. And it's 2 acres of mobile area. We're not talking like it's a yard. I mean, it's
Sure.
It's big. And when the landscaper came out to do the yard work, he came out, if I recall, 5 different times to do significant work. And when he did, I gave James the credit for it.
Okay, so Cain didn't know there was a yard man at all.
No.
So you were lying to your husband. There was deception. You were lying to your husband.
Yes.
And then this landscaper starts hitting on you.
Yes. Then what am I going to say? I already created a lie. I'm trying to give the benefit to James. I'm not, he's not paying for it. I'm paying it out of my own pocket for this landscaper to do the yard work.
You see how it begins, how people begin to look at this, because this is why I'm giving you a chance to clear these things up. Because they say, okay, you're lying to the media about the status of your marriage when it's in a downward spiral, and you say, no, everything's fine. That's all a rumor. Don't even think about it. Everything's fine, when in fact you know that he's left with a baby, that things are in serious trouble. You're lying to your husband about having a landscaper, then the landscaper's hitting on you, so now you can't say because you've lied to him about him being there, so I'm saying there's a landscaper you don't even know is here, but he's showing up with cologne on and grabbing onto me while I'm holding the baby, and so I got to tell you about that, and so you lie about that. So you lied about having him, then you lie by omission about him accosting you out there, and then you told the police, is there anybody that you can think of that might have a reason to want to take Kyron or hurt him in any way? And you describe this landscaper, but you describe him as a stranger, right? You do say you need to consider this guy over here,
Right.
but you don't say he's a landscaper that's been in my employ.
Yes, I did.
Did you tell him that? You told the police then?
Yes, I did. I told him how many times, what dates that he had been there, that James had actually worked with him in tandem. They removed some branches together.
So is that when Cain found out that there was a landscaper?
Yeah. I told the police I said everything at all. I did not keep anything back.
Did that make the landscaper mad?
I don't know.
Did you point a finger at him? Is that maybe why he made this story up? Because that's a pretty bizarre story to make up. Just like, oh, she offered me $10,000 to kill her husband. Exactly.
Well, I don't know why he said that, other than he's that the cops did the same thing to me and they did the same thing to my friend Dee Dee Spicer. Is that basically they say, you tell us what we want to hear. If you don't tell us what we want to hear, we're going to make your life hell.
That's just bizarre.
You can't make this stuff up. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Oh, I'm telling you. They wanted us to do something that we normally do in our regular lifestyle.
Did they tell you to sext with someone 26 days afterward? And later, you've taken 3 polygraphs. You failed the first 2 polygraphs, and that you walked out in frustration on the 3rd before it really got going.
Tomorrow on on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My teenage daughter moved out into a motel with some stranger.
Is he helping her
I do what I have to do for money.
I'm there to make sure nothing happens to her.
or using her?
Are you a pimp?
Not at all.
You take a cut of her pay?
Yes, I do. Then stop. You're a pimp. Period. I don't see me as a pimp.
But apparently the law does.
I am not making the appointments for them.
Then why are you taking money from her?
That's tomorrow.
Now, some witnesses at school say there might have been an adult with you in the truck that morning. Was
No.
there?
No,
I'm asking you this so you can clear it up.
Sure,
I mean, if it's out there,
absolutely.
you want to respond to it, right?
I do, yep.
I'm not accusing you of somebody being in a truck with you. Hell, I don't know.
No, there was nobody in the truck with me. The only people that were in the truck with me that day going to school was my daughter, Kiara, and Kyron.
Okay.
Leaving school was just Kiara and I.
Yeah. Well, I'm just asking you because it was in an article, and if I don't ask you, you can't clear it up.
Thank you.
I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to leave a
No,
stone
no,
unturned.
Yeah, no.
Okay. I said I look at people's behavior, and I asked you earlier if you considered Kyron your son.
Yes,
And you said since he's 3 days old.
right?
You love this little boy.
Yes.
As your own child. So it's fair to evaluate your conduct the same as any mother that has lost a child.
I've lost 2.
So that's important that we know that that's how you view it, right?
Yes.
You're posting on Facebook a few days afterwards with things that some people were critical of. For example, saying, hitting the gym tomorrow, I didn't get home until 8 p.m. tonight. This is 4 days after Kyron has gone missing.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you don't know if he is been kidnapped and is being raped and tortured, is lying dead and cold in a ditch. You don't know what is going on. And you say, hitting the gym tomorrow, I didn't get home until 8 p.m. tonight. That, I think, would be viewed as a lot of people as atypical behavior for a distraught mother of a missing child.
Well, that would be because the law enforcement told us to go told us to do things that we normally do. So they want you to go grocery shopping. They want you to go to the gym. They actually specifically told both Kane and I, and he was with me that day when we went.
Did they tell you to sext with someone 26 days afterwards?
No.
Because I found this really strange behavior, and I have to tell you, I have a hard time squaring this up, and I have to say, I took out, there were many of these that I just simply, FCC can't put up, and I'm only putting your side up here, but you're texting with a man, and you say, whatever, like I'm going to get any ever again. Tell Jason Statham I'm available for whatever. I can bench, you're talking about bench pressing, I can do 195, that's how I roll. Then you say, you know, you're flirting around, I'm stronger than you. He responds. You say, we need to arm wrestle. Meanwhile, just know I can take you down. I won't hurt you, though. I'll pin you down and sit on you. I take it you're attracted to me. Okay, I didn't want to ravish you or anything. Insert evil grin with latex. Whoops, did I say that out loud? If you didn't have your son tonight, I would show you what I think of you. I may have to clear it with the boss. You talk about hiring this defense lawyer extraordinaire. You're toast, beware. Grin, going to bed, underwear and tank top. Think about that. Do you want to pick? Then you send a photo and say, that's only the left one. I quote unquote aim to please. Did you want something bigger? Another photo. I mean, it gets much more graphic. So we're talking not 3 weeks that your son has been missing.
And not 2 weeks into it, this is what Kane's doing with somebody else.
Well, I'm talking about you as a mother.
Exactly.
Kane's not here. He's
No.
been here. You're here. I'm asking you, you're a
I'm-
mother with a missing child.
This was in retaliation for something that he was doing that I found out about while this is happening. And this particular person was actually his friend and sent to the house. So this was a setup. I'm saying this person came to the house. He was Kane's friend. I did this deliberately because I was angry and getting back at him.
So you text and say, I'll show you what pleasure is?
I had no interest in having this person in my life. This was something to screw with Kane because I was angry with him because he was doing the exact same thing with somebody else.
But you apparently are trying to hide it because at one point you say, I can't talk, bugs in the house, in danger if I go outside. I want you so bad. I don't know what it is about you, but I'm very attracted to you. Give me 15 minutes and I will make you moan. I mean, and you're saying I can't do this where anybody can hear me, and you're sending very graphic photos. I mean, we're clinically graphic photos here, right? And you're saying this is for revenge?
Yeah, but also by this time we're not even in together anymore.
Well, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about what this has to do with Kane. I'm talking about your mindset as a mother. You have to admit this is not the conduct that you would expect from the grieving mother. 21 days out, you don't know where this child is.
Right. I had already disassociated by this point from just everything. I wasn't. I don't even remember half of it, half of what I wrote. It's just, it's filth. But
were you drunk?
No. But it's.
Were you high?
No. I don't do drugs either.
Well, I'm asking.
I'm clear. No.
I'd feel better if you were. No, seriously. His theory is that you guys really had hurt each other and that hurting Kyron was a way to hurt him. And later, they made a big point out of the fact that you had said in referring to Kyron that you loved him. Past tense.
You shot my son.
This is her son's blood.
You left Stefan in a ditch, riddled with bullet holes.
I did not kill Stefan.
I use heroin every couple hours. I would rather feed my drug habit than my unborn child.
She's my sister. How could you do this to a baby?
It gets worse.
Right now, she is really high. She's gonna be...
Stop the tape. You're either gonna watch this and get in the game or you're out.
Plus, he went from all-American athlete
I've been living on the street
to homeless wannabe rapper.
He's into rap now?
I'm here to tell a story and inspire. That is it. I'm on the wire.
He's a rapper?
I've been doing this for 15 years. You get to thinking you've seen and heard everything until now. My question is, what frame of mind can you be in with regard to your son? Because that sounds like one way to interpret that is, you know, woohoo, I'm free, let's rock and roll.
No.
That's one. It is one way to interpret that.
Sure, but no.
Because that sounds like, okay, got rid of husband, got rid of kids. I'm ready to party.
Yeah, no. So if you want to psychoanalyze me, if we go back, I wasn't going to mention this at all, but What Kane's in my relationship in the very beginning was highly sexual, from the very beginning, for years, until our daughter was born. People do stupid things, and that was something that I did that I can't take it back. It's already out there, right? There's nothing I can do about it other than apologize for it. But I was so far away of who I am at that point. I don't even, for us, sex was soothing, comfortable, familiar. And it's not an excuse, but it's apparently someplace that I decided to go.
This was an escape.
Yeah. I did it for the wrong reasons. But it's what happened. I can't take it back.
Well, Terry has said that this was for revenge.
It is.
And Kyron's parents say she may have taken that revenge a step further. Take a look at this, and I'll let you respond.
I believe that he was having an affair on Terry, and I told Kane that when you are married to the devil and you give her a reason to be pissed off, all of your sins are going to come back, and here we are in this situation.
So you think that she might have done something to Kyron to hurt Kane?
I know of the hatred that she had for both of us.
His theory, what he's espousing there, is that you guys really had hurt each other and really had some angst towards each other, and that hurting Kyron was a way to hurt him.
I understand, but that's not what happened.
Do you think he really believes that?
No.
Do you have any contact with him now? Are you guys cooperating in any way?
I've been doing everything that's been asked of me through the divorce. I completed, we're supposed to do a parenting class, supposed to do all these kind of things because he has the daughter. So I've done everything within, we were divorced in December 31st of 2013. By that summer of 2014, I had completed all the tasks that I was supposed to do for a reunification process with my daughter.
What happened that he was able to present to the court that they gave custody to him and required you to get remediation and only supervised visitation with your daughter? Because of the impressions that Bobby O'Donnell, the lead investigator, had done with a restraining order from the very beginning. What triggered the restraining order to begin with? Was it
the murder for hire thing?
The murder for hire thing?
Mm-hmm. That's false, right?
Right. And no one's ever been charged. No one's ever been indicted, arrested, charged. You haven't. The person hasn't. No. So if there was a basis for that, they would have acted on that, right? So if there's no basis for that, then wouldn't they have to vacate the restraining order? It was eventually when the divorce was finalized, then it was, yes. So that's been vacated? Right. So you're not restrained from being in his presence? No, we both have, there's a protection order. However, it's the same for both of us. Why is that? Is there an anticipation that you two would get out of control? No. You had the opportunity to bury Kyron in the backyard where no one could see. She actually said that? Yes.
Last Friday, authorities showed Desiree text messages Terry had sent her friends. Desiree said it's very clear from Terry's horrible words that she had a severe hatred towards Kyron.
She had expressed in great detail her hatred for Kyron. I now believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that not only is she capable of hurting Kyron, that it's clear that she could have hurt him in the worst possible way.
The hateful emails I supposedly wrote, I never wrote any hateful emails. I love Kyron. I've never hated a child in my life. I've never said that about a child. So anything that Desiree has said publicly, people just take what she says as being the God's truth, and it's certainly not. She can't produce one iota of evidence. Anything about Kyron or hating him, absolutely not.
I've never seen one of those emails.
Never either.
They didn't produce any of them to us. Did you ever write any of those emails? Did you ever say any of those things?
No, that's not even a word I would ever even use.
Did you ever feel any of those things toward Kyron?
No.
Well, you know why I'm asking you this, right?
Right.
If I don't ask you, you can't respond to it.
Right.
Now, Desiree and Kane have made ad seriatim accusations against Terry. And I want to be sure that I've given you the opportunity to respond to every one of them. I think we've covered most of these.
Except for the ping, I think.
Involved in Kyron's disappearance, you've said absolutely, unequivocally no. Lied about where you were positioned the last time you saw Kyron. We went over the map. You've been very clear about that. Hours unaccounted for the day Kyron went missing. We've talked about that. You said you were driving around with your child and then went to the gym. That your cell phone pinged at the Sauvie Island the day of the disappearance.
That's not true.
And you say that because there's not a cell tower on Sauvie Island, to your knowledge, right?
Right. There is a...
Are there cameras on the bridge to Sauvie Island?
There is one to go. There's one bridge to go over, and there's cameras on it, and then I was not on any cameras.
So if you had crossed that bridge, you would be on a camera.
Sure.
Your car would show your camera crossing the bridge, and we would know when. I mean, it's a fairly narrow time, and the police have never produced a video of you or your car crossing the bridge to Sauvie Island.
Correct.
And there's not a cell tower on Sauvie Island.
Right.
So, okay, and I think it's important that people understand that you had the opportunity to bury Kyron in the backyard where no one could see.
She actually said that?
Yes.
Oh, you must be referring to where Kane is at now, at the house? That's what she's suggesting? The answer is no.
Wrote emails to her friends saying that she hated Kyron, which we just talked about. Blamed marital problems on Kyron, that it was the issues with him that caused your problems with Kane.
No.
Asked Desiree to take custody of Kyron. Did you do that?
I did not ask her to take custody. When he would go down for long stints, like a summer or a spring break or something, he'd come back and he'd be kind of sad. And so I asked him, do you want to call your mom and just check in with her? And yes, and they would talk back and forth. And he mentioned to me one time that he wanted to go live with his mom. And I said, okay, well, if that's something that you feel strongly about, let's go talk to your dad, or you can talk to your mom about it. And I told Kane about it, but I never knew what he and Desiree discussed about it.
Did you want her to take him?
No, in fact, I had spoken to one of, before all this happened, when he was a little bit younger, I had spoken to one of the family, his side of the family, have an attorney about adopting him. I wanted to adopt him. And I wasn't able to do that because obviously she's a biological mother.
She said that you made Kyron's disappearance about you, made it about her, that you got hair done and put on makeup and went to the gym after the disappearance, and that she just found that really strange.
She did her hair, makeup, and had her Starbucks coffee on a daily basis.
You've taken 3 polygraphs. You failed the first 2 polygraphs, and that you walked out in frustration on the 3rd before it really got going.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My teenage daughter moved out into a motel with some stranger.
Is he helping her?
I do what I have to do for money.
I'm there to make sure nothing happens to her.
Or using her?
Are you a pimp?
Not at all.
You take a cut of her pay?
Yes, I do.
Then stop. You're a pimp, period.
I don't see me as a pimp.
But apparently the law does.
I am not making the appointments for them.
Then why are you taking money from her?
That's tomorrow.
Closed captioning provided by...
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-300-9109.
There's been a lot made of the fact that you've taken 3 polygraphs, and that the polygraph operators have reported that you failed the first 2 polygraphs and that you walked out in frustration on the 3rd before it really got going. And you've said that the first polygraph seemed to be kind of a normal protocol. The second one seemed like a hurry-up job, that they didn't really do half of what they did on the first one.
Right.
And the third one was very frustrated, and you didn't actually do it.
So the first one was approximately an hour long, and reading the results took about 3 hours to do it. I'm very hard of hearing, virtually deaf in my left ear, so I have to look at people when I talk to them to understand what they're saying. He was behind me when he was doing the first polygraph. So it took me a little bit of time to process what he was saying to respond. I was gone for the 3 hours while he put it together, came back, and he just, I don't even know what was up on the screen, but he said, "You failed." And I was like, how can I possibly fail? I told the truth. And then they came in, two of the, Bobby O'Donnell, lead investigator, another guy named Will, he's an FBI guy. He was part of the group. And were talking to me about it. And after discussion of it, I was upset. Went back and I had, at that time, called Kane, and I told him, I'm just done cooperating. I have had it. I cannot believe that they're focused on me, or they're not focusing where they need to be. And they took me home. I was at home. The lead investigator of FBI, his name's Lee Gossam, he called me over to the school, or the fire station, and asked that we have a discussion, and about saying that they needed my help to continue on, because I know Kyron as well as I do. Excuse me, I agreed that I would. It's just, I just said, I'm just angry because of all this is going on. He said, well, had you had any other reaction, I would have thought that you were guilty, because I don't feel that way about you. The second polygraph was, the guy was in a rush.
Well, how much do you rely on reading lips?
It's heavy enough. I have to see the context of the person, what they're saying, their facial expression. It helps a lot.
You had your back to him?
Yeah, if I'm sitting this way and I'm doing it, he's right here at a table. So I can hear out of this ear. It's just, it makes it much more difficult.
Mm-hmm. Well, we spoke to Jack Tremarco, who does a lot of polygraph work for us. And he said that it's very possible for hearing to affect a test result. He said, definitely, if you have a hearing problem, that's very possible that it would affect a test result. I consider him to be the best of the best. He said, but in the pre-test portion of the polygraph, questions are reviewed, and it is established that the questions are understood, and that it should have been established that she wasn't hearing well before the test was given, if that was a problem.
I told him that. I told the polygrapher that.
And he still got behind you?
Yes. I told him I couldn't hear. then he made it so that I was scooted over enough that I could hear more out of my right ear.
Did you hear the questions?
I did, but it took a minute to get them.
What did he ask you?
One of the questions was Kyron in the truck with you? Well, there's a fail right there, because he was in the truck with me on the way to school, but not when we're leaving. So that one I can't even get right. And that was the one that I supposedly failed.
He didn't ask you if you
Didn't ask me if I
knew
murdered my son.
where he was?
He did ask if I knew. What? Do you know who has him, or do you know who has him or where he is? But the one that was failed was whether or not he was in the truck with me.
Desiree says when she first spoke to Terry about Kyron's disappearance, she felt her story didn't add up. Hey, Dr. Phil here. We're ready to start the show, but we're waiting on you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping of the Dr. Phil show, call 323-461-PHIL or visit drphil.com. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. They made a big point out of the fact that you had said, in referring to Kyron, that you loved him. Past tense.
I did not. I told her, I want you to know how much I love your son. I felt horrible. What am I supposed to say to this woman? It's sitting in my house. I take, him to school, and he's gone. What am I supposed to say to her? There's no words that I can do to make her feel better. I was trying to just let her know how much I love him. I was trying to give her ownership. That's why I said, I want you to know I love your son. That's what I was trying to do.
Well, I think her point was saying, you said it in the past tense, that I loved him, like he's no longer here.
I understand what she's trying to suggest, and it's wrong.
She said you had a drinking problem and passed out in the house and left the children unsupervised.
No.
And her fear was that you might have been abusing the children.
Oh, no. No.
No one's ever presented any evidence of that. It's just her concern.
No.
And you said that Kyron sometimes missed them and cried.
I would have. Well, he didn't. He would just miss it. He would just spend, summer with her or something. Wanted to talk to her. Of course, I'm going to call and have him talk to her. Anything to kind of bridge the gap a little bit.
Well, there's one clip I want you to respond to here. Desiree says when she first spoke to Terry about Kyron's disappearance, she felt her story didn't add up. Take a look.
I said to Terry, "You went to the science fair. How is he missing?" She said to me, almost like she had a piece of paper there that she was reading. I dropped him off at the school at 8:15. I didn't see him to his classroom. I almost walked him all the way there, but I didn't see him go into his classroom. And I'm going, whoa, 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 whoa. Then I started going over the conversation with Terry again in my head. I looked over at Tony and I said, if she hurt Kyron, you're gonna have to hold me back because I am gonna want to hurt her.
Well, that's not how she was when she showed up at the house a few hours later, because we all exchanged hugs. That was not at all how she was on the phone. It was a very quick conversation. I was outside, actually, when we arrived at the school. Talked to her on the phone, and I did. I told her a quick rundown of what happened, and we both were crying on the phone. And I said, are you on your way? And she said, yes. And I said, okay. I said, I'll call you about every hour and give you any update or anything that's going on, just so that she knew, because I knew it was about a 5-hour drive. So I told her, which I did. I called her about every hour to kind of give her a heads up of anything I knew at all.
All right, next, what Terry thinks happened to Kyron. I'm really interested in what her theory is. We'll be right back. Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. I guess time has passed, and we have to deal with the reality. As time passes, odds go down. But I'm curious, what do you think happened to Kyron?
I think that somebody came in the school and took him. One of the exonerating things that our public's not made aware of is the day before, on June 3rd, when I was completely someplace else at the doctor's and at the gym, there was a man in a white pickup truck, Ford, and it was parked at 7-Eleven on Highway 30, which is near the school. He was acting very strangely, and he was addressed by one of the employees there that came out and asked him what he'd doing, because he'd been pacing back and forth in front of the 7-Eleven for about an hour. And he went over to find out what was going on, and the guy, I'm not sure what the entire conversation was about, but I do know from a couple of these witnesses that this man asked the employee where the nearest school was, and that employee told him Skyline, and this is the day before. After all of this happened, another employee that was working there that day, she had contacted the police and said, hey, there was this strange guy here. We've got a tape of it. Would you like to come see it? The cops went over there, they viewed the tape, and she asked them, would you like the tape? And they said, no, we're good. They didn't even take the tape. But, these are witnesses that say otherwise. As far as what my concern is, that somebody else has come into the school, it was open. The protocol is you're supposed to have only the front door unlocked, and all the doors were unlocked. And roughly, from what I understand, about 400 people came in and out of that school. No badges, no signing in or out. So,
do you think Kyron will ever be found alive?
J.C. Dugard was. Elizabeth Smart was. So, yes. Unless I am told otherwise in some way, shape, or form, or shown, I'm going to always believe that he's alive and out there.
Well, it's been 6 years since Kyron went missing. He would be 14 years old today. And here's a photo of what Kyron might look like today. You want to say something?
Oh, his birthday's next month. He'll be 14.
He'll be 14 next month. So he's 13 right now. He'll be 14 coming up. So take a really close look. And if you have any information that could help bring Kyron home, please contact Multnomah County Sheriff's Office on their tip line. And we're putting the number up on our screen. It's 503-261-2847. or email tips@bringkyronhome.org. And please, take this seriously. They don't need pranks. They don't need anything that is a distraction. But if there's something you feel like even the smallest thing can lead to something that can bring about a very important result. So please pay attention, take a look. This will also be on drphil.com. So if you're missing the number right now and you want to find it, it will be on our website. It's 6 years past, but I'm glad you came here today. I wanted to give you an opportunity to respond to everything.
Thank you.
That's out there, and I think we covered the waterfront.
Thank you for putting the number up, too. I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.